Lesson 2 is all about standard form. And so what a standard form is it's a linear equation that takes the form ax plus by is equal to c, right? Where a, b, and c are all numbers, right? And you can see an example of that here, right? 5x minus 8y is equal to 16. Do you see that? What we want to do is take and transform these into something that we understand, right? So we want to find the slope and we want to find the y-intercept. So if you look at this equation, 5x minus 8y equals 16, do you see the slope? Right? And do you see the y-intercept? Maybe, but we have to do some work to transform it to make it clear. So what we want to do here is we want to solve for y. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, just at least for this first one, is take and draw a vertical line just so you can see what the goal is. And we're going to have y is equal to something. Oops, that was not a very good straight line. So y, right, is equal to, and then something. We want to get y by itself. So the way we get there is we start by subtracting 5x from both sides. And then simplify. What we get is negative 8y is equal to 16 minus 5x. And then now we want to divide by negative 8 on both sides. What we get here is that y is equal to 16 divided by negative 8, or negative 2, and then negative 5 divided by 8 is plus 5/8 x. Now, when we work with slope and y-intercept, usually it looks like this. It looks like 5/8 x, right, and minus 2. You see what I did there? I just took and kind of switched this around. Right, so for this problem, what's the slope? The slope is, oops, let me grab a different color there. It's 5/8. And what's the y-intercept? It's negative 2. All right, so that's kind of what we're doing in these problems here. I'm going to erase this for now, and let's look at a second problem. Okay, so again, what we want to do here is transform this so we get y equals something. Okay, so we want to start, I'm going to move this over just a little bit. Start by subtracting 4x from both sides. Minus 4x minus 4x. And we're left with negative y is equal to 8 minus 4x. Now here we want to divide by negative 1. Divide by negative 1. All right, and we're left with y is equal to 8 divided by negative 1 is negative 8. And negative 4 divided by negative 1 is plus 4x. And it makes sense to rearrange this so that it looks like y is equal to 4x minus 8. Right, and so then if I ask you, what's the slope? You would say 4. And what's the y-intercept? You would say negative 8. Okay, so that's the first part. What we're going to do next is we're going to actually sketch some graphs. And to do this, again, we need the slope and we need the y-intercept. And the issue is that when we look at this equation, we don't know these right away. So what we want to do is take and transform this so those pop out clearly. Okay, so we want to solve for y. Same thing. Start by subtracting 6x from both sides. Okay, and we're left with negative 5y is equal to negative 25 minus 6x. And now divide by negative 5. And we're left with y is equal to negative 25 divided by negative 5 is 5. And then negative 6 divided by negative 5 is plus 6/5 x. Okay, so we could rearrange it, but we have the slope, we have the y-intercept. In this situation, the slope is 6/5. The y-intercept is 5. So let's go and graph this. Let's start with the y-intercept of 5. And then remember, our slope is 6/5. So 6/5, you know, that's rise over run. And remember, we can also write this as negative 6 and negative 5. Okay, so this says you rise 6, you run 5. Okay, we rise 6 and run 5. You can't really plot that first point, right? That's a question mark. Okay, so let's go to this part here. How do we rise negative 6? Well, we go down 6. So down 6, and then run negative 5. So go this way, negative 5. Here's that point. Okay, so the graph for this one is going to be a straight line, right through these guys, more or less. I got it. Something like that. Okay, does that make sense? Let's do one more of these. On this one, we want to sketch the graph of this line. So we want to take x plus 5y is negative 20 and solve for y. Okay, so subtract x from both sides. Right, and we're left with 5y is equal to, and we'll write this as negative x minus 20. Divide by 5. And we're left with y is equal to, now here this is a negative 1, so we have negative 1/5 x, and then negative 20 divided by 5 is minus 4. Okay, so our slope is negative 1/5, and our y-intercept is negative 4. Okay, let's go ahead and graph that. Start at negative 4 with our y-intercept. Okay, and our slope is negative 1/5, right? That's rise over run. And the second way we can write this is 1 over negative 5. Okay, so from this point, we rise negative 1, or we fall 1, and then we run positive 5 to here. Okay. On this one, we rise 1 and run negative 5. Okay, to here. And then we got our straight line. Just connect up those dots, right? And that's it. Just put arrows on it. We're good to go. Okay, so that's kind of the second part of this video. Lastly, so we want to complete tables and then finally kind of put it all together. Okay, so to complete this table here, what we need to do is, to solve for y. Okay, so I'm going to maybe just skip a step here, but I'm going to subtract 10x and subtract 10x, right? And write this as y is equal to negative 10x minus 14. All right, I'm going to move this just right down here. And so what we want to do now is substitute in, right? When x is 0, what is y? Well, so this gives us y is equal to negative 10 and times x, which is 0, minus 14. Right? Negative 10 times 0 is 0, minus 14, this is negative 14. Okay, now we want to find y is equal to negative 10 times x is 1, minus 14. So negative 10 minus 14 is negative 24. Then y is equal to negative 10 times 2 minus 14. Negative 20 minus 14 is negative 34. Right, and you get the idea. This becomes negative 44. Okay, so again on this problem here, right, we're going to start by taking x minus 2y is equal to 12 and solving for y. So minus x, we're left with negative 2y is equal to 12 minus x. Divide by negative 2. Okay, and we're left with y is equal to 6. 12 divided by negative 2 is negative 6. And then negative 1 divided by negative 2 is plus 1/2 x. Okay, to show our work here, we want to find y is equal to negative 6 plus 1/2 times 0. Well, that gives us negative 6. Then y is equal to negative 6 plus 1/2 of 1. Okay, 1/2 times 1 is 1/2. Minus 6 gives us negative 5.5. Now y is equal to negative 6 plus 1/2 times 2. 1/2 times 2 is 1. Plus a negative 6 is negative 5. Okay, and you can see the idea. This is going to be negative 4.5. Okay. And then lastly, we're going to kind of put it all together and solve one of these problems here. Okay, so we're given this equation. Aaron is saving candy according to this equation. 5x minus y is equal to negative 6. So 5x minus y is equal to negative 6. Now, before we do anything, we got to get that into y equals to slope-intercept form. So we subtract 5x, both sides. Negative y is negative 5x minus 6. And then divide by negative 1. And we're left with y is equal to 5x plus 6. Now, let's go ahead and fill out our table first. Right, after 0 days, how many pieces of candy remain? Well, that's going to be y is equal to 5 times 0 plus 6, or 6. After 1 day, y is equal to 5 times 1 plus 6. Okay, so 5 plus 6 is 11. And then here, y is equal to 5 times 2 plus 6. So 10 plus 6 is 16. Right, and hopefully now you see the pattern of the slope, right? This goes up plus 5 each time as this goes plus 1. Okay, so let's fill in the rest. 6 to 11 to 16 to 21, right, to 26. All right, now let's graph it. What's our slope? Our slope is 5 over 1, or negative 5 over negative 1, right? And we can see that by writing this over 1. What's our y-intercept? Well, that's 6. Okay, so let's graph this. Start at 6, right? And we want to go up 5, right 1. So up 5, right 1. Right? And again, up 5, right 1. Right? And so that's that's about all we can do. We got that part here. Okay, so we completed the graph, completed this table. And now the last thing we want to do is just write a story for this. Okay, so something simple like Aaron, right, starts with 6 pieces of candy, 6 pieces of candy, and then every day he gets how many more? He gets 5 more. 5 more pieces. Okay, so we can see the y-intercept 6 and then the slope 5. So that's perfect. Okay, that's it. Thanks a lot for watching.